Welcome to Doodle Healing the Warrior Way podcast, where your life is your masterpiece. I'm Cindy Bayles, your Doodle Warrior Coach, here to help you turn self-doubt into unshakable confidence, rediscover your purpose, and create a life you can't wait to wake up to. Grab your favorite pen and let's doodle your way to clarity, joy, and freedom, one episode at a time.
Hi, friend. I'm Cindy Bayles, and this is Doodle Healing the Warrior Way. This is where we design a life we love, one doodle, one thought, and one brave choice at a time. Before we dig in today, grab a piece of paper and something to write with. Seriously, go ahead, I'll wait. Because today we're going to doodle together. You'll want that page in front of you at the end of this episode. We're talking about creativity today, how we lose it, why it matters, and how a simple doodle can help bring creativity back into your life. Do you remember when you were a kid? If you're in a safe spot, close your eyes for a moment and think back to when you were a little child. You probably had crayons everywhere, maybe markers that bled through the page, and drawings taped proudly on the refrigerator. And if no paper was nearby, the walls would do just fine. You did all the things. You colored outside the lines, you scribbled for fun, you mixed every color just to see what would happen next. You made mud pies and called them delicious. And you created simply because it felt good. You didn't worry about whether it looked right or if it was good enough. You just created because you were curious and full of imagination. But somewhere along the way, things changed. You started hearing comments like, color inside the lines, or elephants aren't purple. You learned to value being right more than being creative. And little by little, that natural spark began to fade. There was a study in the 1960s. A researcher named George Land was working with NASA to identify creative thinkers. He later took that same creativity test he designed for NASA to 1,600 children between the ages of 4 and 5. He wanted to see how naturally creative they were before school and social expectations began shaping their thinking. The test measured what psychologists call divergent thinking. That means the ability to generate many possible ideas or solutions to a single problem. It is one of the core components of creativity. When children were initially tested, 98% scored at what Land tested at the creative genius level. 5 years later, when the same group of now 10-year-olds were tested again, guess what the number was then? 30% scored at the creative genius level. 68% drop from 5 years before. And then by age 15, only 12% remained in the creative genius range. When he brought them back as adults, sadly, only 2% scored as creative geniuses. Their brains did not suddenly lose creativity. What changed were their beliefs. They learned to question themselves. They learned that mistakes were bad. They learned to fit in and follow the rules. And as they did, they began to forget how to imagine new possibilities. So why does creativity even matter? Today, research from Stanford University, Harvard Medical School, and the World Health Organization confirms that creative expression is essential for emotional health. Studies show that activities like drawing, journaling, and doodling reduce stress hormones, improve focus, and increase feelings of well-being. Creativity helps us process emotions, solve problems, and build resilience. When we make something, our brain releases dopamine, which is a chemical linked to motivation and joy. It helps us move from worry to calm and from self-criticism to self-connection. When you doodle, your brain enters a relaxed state, often called the flow state. In that state, your mind quiets down, your breathing slows, and your focus sharpens. It is the same mental space activated during prayer, meditation, or deep reflection. Creativity gives your mind room to breathe and your heart room to speak. It isn't just an activity. It is a form of healing. Healing is why I love doodling so much. It is simple, safe, and anyone can do it. You do not need artistic skills. You just need to be willing to pick up the pen, crayon, marker, or paintbrush and start making marks on the page. When you doodle, your heart, head, and hands work together. It becomes a full body expression of what is inside of you. That connection helps your nervous system settle and your thoughts slow down. When you doodle yourself, your warrior, your hope, or your joy, you are reminding your brain that you matter. You are rewriting your story with every mark. And in that process, you need to remember who you were before the world told you to stop being silly. You start to see your story again, and you start to feel proud of it. Have you ever played hangman as a kid? Most of us have. I used to play hangman during Sunday school. We had a teacher who would show up, tell us to play hangman, and then he would fall asleep. I'm not kidding. After he dozed off, we would sneak out and run around the chapel outside. It was the highlight of our morning. That is what we're going to start with today. We're going to draw that little stick figure from Hangman and turn her into Doodle You. I just have a little piece of scrap paper here, and we're going to start with a circle for the head, and it doesn't have to be perfectly round. This is all about letting ourselves be imperfect and create something. And then I'm going to give her some clothes, and I usually make a triangle for her dress. If you'd rather do pants and a shirt, you just use a couple rectangles. Just use whatever you want to use. And now I'm going to give her some legs and feet, and I just do a line and some circles. And then I'm going to give her some hair, and I'm just doing two lines to show hair on the front, and then a bun. Now I want to stop and say these things. I wear a dress on Sundays, and the minute I come home, I take it off. This doesn't really represent me every day, and that's okay. I also don't wear a bun. Never have in my life worn a bun, full disclosure. But this is easy and fast for me, and this is what I like to do. So do what feels good for you. I like to put a heart right in the center of her chest. And that heart likes to remind me that it's okay to feel deeply and to love myself. Now I'm going to give her some hands, and I like to have them be on her heart, but you could have her not be on her heart, like out there. I'm going to give her a couple of eyes, and mine is just going to have a little bit of a smile. This is just your simple Doodle You. That's it. It was really simple, wasn't it? Super fun. Now you have your very first Doodle You. Isn't she beautiful? I want you to take a moment to really look at Doodle You. Don't you love her already? She may be simple, but she represents something powerful. This is the beginning of a new relationship with you. The real, creative, feeling, growing, messy, wonderful you. Every time you look at her, I want you to remember that you are not just someone who doodles. You are someone who is learning to see yourself with kindness. This little drawing is a symbol of that. She is your reminder that healing doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it just starts with a pen, a piece of paper, and the willingness to see yourself again. So take a deep breath. You did it. That was your first Doodle You. And it is just the beginning of your story. If you love this episode, come join our Doodle Warrior community on Facebook. Link is in the description.
Thanks for listening to Doodle Healing the Warrior Way podcast, where your life is your masterpiece. If today's episode inspired you, make sure to subscribe and share it with a friend who needs a little encouragement. Want more? Grab my free Doodle Your Vision Board guide. The link is in the description below. Remember, you are the warrior of your story. Your life, your masterpiece.